Okay, fix that. No way. Yo, 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 yo. See if we can get this going the right way. Try to do it the right way instead of the wrong way. Thought I did this right. Okay, so this is over here. See what we can do. Trying to get it to look good on a what we call it Instagram and TikTok. When I get the screen to look good on Instagram and TikTok, we A1. So small, ain't nobody gonna be able to read none of that. Ain't say it, but ain't tried oh. Alright. What's happening, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening, what's happening? As we continue the Sunday service onto Monday service, September 1st, 2025. We getting back into the nectar of non-duality. The nectar of non-duality, y'all. We didn't show up yesterday, and that was on purpose. Let me get it live on Instagram. I ain't even live on Instagram yet. Probably live on TikTok already though. Let's see. Yeah, TikTok live. We just ain't live over here on okay, Instagram live too. About to get their ass up in here. We back here to do it again. Back here to do it again, gang. Turn this shit around. Oh, we back here to do it again. Real P pushers was heading. Shout out to the building. I know everybody off today. Y'all out there eating some of that barbecue. Y'all out there eating some of that barbecue. If you're in the chat, you in? Oh, come on, sick. Click to read the unread notification. High CPU usage. I need to close some shit down. All right. Computer using a lot of energy right now, so hold up. If you hear say something. Drop something in the chat. You know we don't do that stranger shit, that stranger danger shit. And you in here say something. Or we get it all the way going. A lot of shit I gotta shut down in the background right now. I didn't even know all this shit was in the background rolling. I can't close that because I need that. So we getting this shit rolling. We doing verses 22 to 24, and then next week that'll be the last one we do. Next week that'll be the last. What's the name we do, and we'll be switching over books. You know, we'll be done. We probably take a break in between. I mean, smacking you back and forth to this non-duality. So we'll probably take a break for a week or something like that and get right back into it. Cool TGS, we got the G showing up. Mothra, it's so motherfucking P. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Yeah, yeah. And everybody showing up. Sir Impeccable. Yeah. We in here. We in here. What we say? Is that even coming through? Y'all can y'all hear that? This ain't even supposed to be coming through on my screen. I wonder can y'all hear that? Cause I can't. I'm sick of trying to set up my settings. Y'all know how my mic kept going out last time. Trying to keep putting us up with that. How does that how does the screen look, y'all? Can y'all read this over here on YouTube, or do I need to stretch it? Mhm. No diddy can. Do I need to stretch it? No diddy gang. No, I need to pull it out for. Come on, man. Is this better or see audio already starting off crackly? Like we on crack. One sec. How that audio sound now? How the audio sound now, y'all? How the audio sound right now? Cause you know I actually may have to just go ahead and you might have to actually just go ahead and get a another mic one day. Somebody let me know how the audio sound. Y'all know? Okay, much better. So it looks like we're gonna have to keep unplugging and plugging in the audio. Hold up. So it look like what we're gonna have to do, y'all. What about the screen? How the screen looking? Is it readable on the screen? Is the screen readable? Readable screen. Can y'all see the screen? Can y'all read the? Or do we have to switch over to the phone? I mean, we don't have to switch over to the phone. I just want to know if that clear enough. You know what? I mean, he's great with these C's in it. Let me see how it look. That don't look too readable. That look good to y'all? Cool. Oh yeah, there you go. I just had to make sure my screen, the quality of my screen was good. Let me see one more time. Fuck. Come on, man. Give me a second. Boom. I have to make the chat smaller. That heart essence of bikinis go in, bro. Then women gurus go in. Death be dropping jewelry like ramen on them. Whoa, 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 whoa. Where is that at, brother? Put me up on game, brother. Put me up on game. Sir Impeccable. I ain't seen that one. Hold up. I don't see the chat over here for the mm. Yeah, I ain't seen that one. computer, you telling me I'm using a lot of CPUs right now. Man. Alright, y'all. Look like what we got. Let's OP. Sadia. Peace, peace, peace. Alright. I was trying to find a chat box for Instagram and what's the name so they can see it too, but fuck it, it is what it is. I might just need to do horizontal and just do output. Yeah, I can't even turn it off now. Now it's just going. So really forget it, bro. This one I'm gonna have to do here. Y'all let me know y'all can see me. I let y'all know that I can see you and see that chat. And we gonna get this thing popping. Today we doing verse 22 to 24. Then next we'll do 25 to the last verse, which I think is gonna be 28, 27, 28 verses. So we'll break it up. And remember, y'all remember the next book we doing, right? Hold up. You still got time to go get the book. You still got time to go get the book, and it's still affordable. Be As You Are by David Gottman on Sri Ramana Maharishi. Bhagavan. Bhagavan. Ramana Maharishi. This will be the next one. We have gotten all the introductory texts that we are going to read into non-duality. We have done all the introductory texts that we're going to read as a group. This shit is on you now. Shit is on you, all on you. Volume 2. BG. All on you, volume 2. Oh. So, and I gotta say that everybody seems to be perceiving this or receiving this real well. Real well. So, without further ado, give me 1 second. Can y'all hear me now? Let me know if y'all can. Let me know if y'all can. I may just need to use the computer mic. Maybe this ain't it no more. Cause I can't keep doing that and y'all people comment on the video. The mic keep going out, bro. I can't do it. That's my fault. I should have that in check. Let me see how I can change the mic settings. Damn. Oh, okay. From the Dzogchen Buddhism. Okay, I check that out. I mean, once I get this mic set up, I might have, like I said, I might have to enter in the regular schmegular. Yo, how do I sound now? Am I coming through? Am I coming through clear now? How do I sound now? 17, 17. Nah, I just might have to keep doing it because I think I had to set them settings up before I even start. So probably ain't gonna let me do all that, y'all. All right, y'all know just keep me updated then, y'all. My bad. Just keep me updated and let me know how it's actually sounding, so I can fix whatever I can fix. All right. Okay. So verse 22, as space, as spaceness. Oh shit. Finally. Oh, Marcus. Mars attacks. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? I think did you just? I think you just subscribed, didn't you? Yeah, yeah. He said it. Just found your page a couple days ago, bro. Love it. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, bro, for tapping in and hitting that subscribe button, bro. Appreciate you, man. Come over here and stand on this P with us, man. This cosmic principle. The principle behind everything that could ever exist, that has ever existed, that ever will. This is the principle we are discovering. Not even discovering, it's a realization. And we pushing it over here. So let's continue, y'all. Hold up. Oh. He said, what you know about BG Volume 2? Don't forget one. Come on now. Come on now, man. Come on, man. We raised on that cash money, man. Come on now. Sir Peckwise, that's how I know you from the South. Exactly how I know. Alright. And then you ain't like 22 years old. That's what I know, cause ain't no 22-year-old finna talk about no BG. I don't know nothing about BG. Let's see. We showing our age and our heritage, brother. Let's see. 22. As spaceness is the nature of space, so existence is nothing but my own nature, not a quality of mine. Because remember, qualities change. Qualities change, right? And you can have a less amount of this quality and more of this quality, and you know what I'm saying? It kind of shifts. So if we understand in that, then we understand that it's not a quality. We're not talking about our qualities. Existence is not considered a classification, as there is no existence other than me. You hear that? Existence is not considered a classification. So it's not a classification. Like you a senior, a sophomore, it ain't no classification as existence, as there is no existence other than me. There's only one. So there could be no classifications, no separations, right? For understanding this verse, a bit of Naya, the traditional school of Hindu logic, is needed. No matter how abstruse and difficult logic becomes, it is simply a way of formalizing common sense thinking. And that is a true and that is as true as Naya is of Aristotelian logic. We think in categories. All right. So now we're gonna get into the way that we think here. We think in categories. In fact, ordinary knowledge is really nothing but categorization or categorizing. You hear that? We gotta underline that. In fact, ordinary knowledge is really nothing but categorizing. So what does that mean? That's why I say when we talking about concepts, when we talking about anything in any form of knowledge, really, it's all about placing limitations on word or what the words actually mean. You see what I'm saying? The word TV gives you a representation of something, right? It's not the actual, the word TV is not the actual TV. You see what I'm saying? Hopefully that's getting to somebody. The word TV is not the actual TV. The word forehead is not actually the forehead. So it's placing a limitation anyway because you have to place limitations to describe something separate from what's the thing that you describing. You see what I'm saying? So if we talking limitation, then we got to be talking duality. So if we talking no limitation, then we talking a non-dual aspect. But the mind, what does the mind automatically do? The mind, the ego automatically creates limitations. Your mind automatically creates limitations. So when you understand that, you understand when they talk about the school of no mind. The school of no mind. Let's continue though. In fact, ordinary knowledge is really nothing but categorizing, classifying, which includes understanding the interrelations between categories. I like that. In most of the Nyaya is formalizing of this process so that it is more effective and less prone to error. We learned that there is a thing called a table. Let's see. But as soon as we learn that there are various tables, each differing, from the others. You know what I'm saying? It's automatically separation. Okay. And so table becomes a category with many variations within it. Let's read that again. We need to get this because they finna go into some shit. We learn that there is a thing called a table, but we soon learn that there are various tables, each differing from the others. And so the table becomes a category with many variations in it. Some tables are red, some are blue, some are natural wood. And so different colors in here. Listen, the different colors in here in the table as qualities. There's the one thing. So you can have gold, and then you can have different variations of that one thing, which is ultimately on the gold. You got white gold, yellow gold. You know, we can have different variations of gold. That is the category table. That is the category table must be independent. That is the category table must be independent of any particular color. There couldn't be differently colored tables. So there had to be an independence of each particular color. There couldn't be any differently colored table. That would be a label, right? And so this shit gonna piss me off. Yo, yo, yo. Am I coming through? Coming through. I ain't liking this. I can't even hold y'all. Let's see. What about this right here? Is this working? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me through this mic? How this mic sound? Alright, I'm gonna have to do it through my cell phone, y'all. I mean, I really could just do it through my computer. What the hell am I talking about? What about now? How that mic sound? That mic sound better? We gonna run with that mic inside the computer. Alright, y'all can hear me now? Hold up. Y'all say we sound good? Alright. So what that mean is that mic is trash. How long that last? About 6 months? Hold up, y'all. Mic last about 6 months. Get what you pay for, though. It did not cost that much. Oh, we got my boy Don Tree in here. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, Kevin? So, this mic is going bye-bye. Nope, you should act right. Should have been acting right. You come around here, portraying that you sound good, that you're doing everything that needs to be done for the family. And the family say you around here acting up, cutting up. Get your ass whooped when you get home, boy. Got something for that ass, boy. Alright, so we good. We good with it. You know what? Let me do this. Let's do this. So, now, alright, since TikTok's still going, people still checking this out on TikTok, getting a dose of this non-duality, I ain't gonna end TikTok just to hit my vape. Alright, hey. So, alright. So where we at, y'all? That's that. That is the category of the table must be independent of any particular color, or there couldn't be differently colored tables. And so color is a quality. Some tables are high and some are low. And are low. And so height also is a quality inherent in the tables. So you see all these qualities. Send a Mike to heaven. Send Mike to heaven. And so, with all of these other qualities pertinent to the tableness, listen to the tableness. Remember how we started off talking about spaceness, because we're going to get into I amness, right? So we have an idea of qualities inhering in a thing. The thing is independent of the qualities, even though we never see a thing without qualities. Let's hear that. The thing is what we're describing is independent of the qualities. Even though, what would it say? The thing is independent of qualities, even though we never see the thing without any qualities. So if the whole world is nothing, if the whole manifestation is nothing but Brahman, is nothing but consciousness, all we see are different variations in qualities and quantities. So when you tell somebody no, it's not a whole bunch of multiplicity. It's only one thing. Then what do you mean? I see the color blue and I see the color green. I see people that are brown. I see people that are pink. I see people that are green. I see people that are yellow. I see people that are tall and that are short. I see mothers and I see sisters. I see daughters, cousins, uncles. You see all these different what's names, right? But what we're talking about is that sole principle that is independent of all of those qualities. That is the root principle of all of these things. Without gold, there could be no gold necklace, watch, bracelet, chain, gold teeth, gold anklet. Without gold, you couldn't have all of these variations. In a more philosophical language, we have the idea of a basic thing, the qualities inherent in it. There is this thing called table with qualities like color and height and breadth, right? And relative smoothness inherent in it. Now, the Buddhists realized that we never see anything but qualities. And therefore, they said that there are only qualities. There is no substance in which the qualities inhere. Since substance is only the idea that we project onto our experience because of our habits of thought. Advaita Vedanta agrees that our ordinary thinking in terms of substance and quality is faulty. But it says, especially the Advaita Vedanta as formulated by Swami Vivekananda, here we go, that we see either qualities alone or substance alone. In ordinary consciousness of the world, listen, in ordinary consciousness of the world, we see nothing but qualities, consistent with the Buddhist position. But in the state of illumination, in the state of a person that is self-aware, in the state of a person that is self-aware, or have had self-illumination, we only see the reality. That's key. We only see the reality. Which in the substance, which in this substance, right? Which is the substance, which is gold. So we don't see gold watches, gold chains, gold necklaces, gold this and gold that. We see gold. We don't see $100 bill, $200 bill, even though just stick with me, a peso or a rupee or we see is just fucking money. Even better than that, it's nothing but a fucking material. It's nothing but materials. It's nothing but materials. There's no difference from the $1 bill to the $100 bill. It's printed on the same goddamn paper. We just see the substance itself. It is the same thing that appears to the ordinary mind as quality. So the substance that we see is the same thing that appears to the ordinary mind, and they call that a quality, right? And to the illumined consciousness as a substance, or Brahman, or the Atman, right? The self or consciousness. This means that there is not a substantial thing called a table in which qualities like color inhere. A table is a fucking table. It's a table, right? If our insight can penetrate beyond the table's qualities seen by the senses, listen. If our insight can penetrate, if our insight can penetrate beyond the table's qualities seen by the senses, the real substance remains, which is not a table, but Brahman, the infinite. So he's given the highest of the highest of the highest that's the highest. The same quality, the table is nothing but Brahman. God is the table, the dog shit is the table, the God is the table, the dog shit is God. The God, you know what I'm trying to say. That means what? GMO is God? That means what? Vapes are God? You see what I'm saying? I realized recently that I am is just another concept, a symbol for the self, but ultimately just just the Ahamkara playing God. That's all we're gonna run into. So that's what these, and that's what I have been saying on my not even, fuck it, don't even matter. But that's ultimately what all of this is. So in this book, we're trying to give a logical explanation for the logical mind or the logical age. You see what I'm saying? Or the intellectual age who needs to get it. Ultimately, you run into a real guru, like who we gonna be reading next. They not doing all of that. They give you some shit. Don't get me wrong, but it's like really just contemplate on your I amness. Get the understanding of, wrap your mind around, if you can, around this I amness or this consciousness. And that's it. Focus on that. Give attention to that. Then once you start seeing that all of this is Brahman. So everybody you interact with is Brahman. Anything that you interact with is Brahman. Anything that you interact with is the self. And the self is a concept now. You know what I'm saying? And it has been. And it's hard. But here's the thing about it. It's hard to be able to relate it to people because it's only maybe one people out of a billion, one out of 100 million that got it from Maharashi through his silence. Some people needed to be talked to, which majority of us do, and we ultimately know. So this is for the more advanced student who ultimately knows that speaking in words ultimately cannot describe none of this shit. So that's what I'm saying. It's not meant for you to get, because anything that you're going to get is going to be based off the basis of your mind. And your mind is nothing. We already went through this, but it's always good to keep reiterating. Your mind is nothing but the 5 elements and the 3 gunas. It's composed of all of those elements in whatever degree, whatever shape, form, and that's what you get as your mind. So if your mind is not geared to be able to even try to or care to try to understand this type of shit that's beyond the mind, because ultimately you're only going to get it through an experience. And then don't get the experience and be bragging about, because that's what a lot of spiritual people do. They have the experience and then that's why I keep on like really trying to downplay whatever my experience, because it's not really that important. It's just an experience. And experiences is going to how do experiences happen? They have to happen within awareness. So if I'm understanding that I am awareness, then that means I'm not the experience. So I'm not finna sit and say I had this experience, so I'm superior. That's what the ego and the mind is going to try to do. It's going to try to feel like it has actually done something because of this experience. Everything is an experience within consciousness. My so-called life, my so-called death, my so-called love life, my so-called food, my so-called GMO and vapes and YouTube and all of this is nothing but an experience. You see what I'm saying? Race 636, bro. What's happening? Appreciate you for the share too, bro. Y'all hit that like button. Right, Travis Harris, self-realization. Facts. Holding the mind to the one self is the closest the mind can get to truth. Facts. Because what this is doing, because what you're trying to do, you're trying to dissolve the mind into its source, which is consciousness. Right? Hold up. So, hold up, y'all. So you're trying to dissolve the mind into consciousness. And the only way to do that is you're going to have to take these concepts. But you just got to know, you got to drop these concepts. Now, these concepts are less, so if we want to be real, these concepts are less condensed and packed with a whole bunch of this level, then you got to understand this symbol, then you got to understand this ritual, so you see what I'm saying? Like, that's the concepts that they really speaking about. But even though these still are concepts, words are nothing but concepts. Anytime you use a word, it's a concept tied around it. What Sri Maharaj say? It's like When I get to talking like this, people gonna say, "Oh, I don't agree with what he's saying," or then they will agree with what I'm saying. So, what is the reason why us as human beings agree with what somebody else could be saying? That's because what they're saying aligns with our inner concepts. We have some form of concepts within us that align with that. Why you think y'all here? The same one showing up. You have a concept built up inside of you, about spiritual knowledge that aligns with your concept. It's the only way it's gonna work. It's the only way it's gonna work. It's just the trick. That's what I'm saying. That's the paradox of this shit. Until you zoom out and see, like, oh, it's actually not a paradox. It's actually just like whatever the fuck. It don't matter. That's when you get that people get to ask you, like, what's the point of this life? Ain't no point. You don't want to hear that though. It's like a symbol to get you there, but still just a concept. Right, cool. That's it. The whole thing is nothing but a concept. Whole thing. If y'all was on my story, y'all seen me whip this out. I'm gonna whip this out one more time. This is not for beginners. This teacher here is not for beginners. But I tell you one damn thing. It's fucking profound. You're not gonna like what you read in there if you are filled up and emotionally attached to whatever spiritual concept you got. You're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like it. But for me, this certain awareness just comes over me. Not comes over me because I am awareness, but let's use that for lack of better terms. It just hits me. Like, this is it. This is it. I could give you multiple experiences, but what's the point? It just hits you. And you like, what the fuck? This is it. This is what I was supposed to be figuring the fuck out. And for 99.9% of the world, 9.99999% of the world, they don't want to hear that shit. We're going to talk about our ancestors. We're going to talk about what we need to do in this spiritual system and how we need to do this and how we need to come together as a race, as a human race, and fix this. The play must go on. This whole thing is nothing but a play, and it will play out the way that it can play out. We need to understand that it's going to play out the way that it can play out. It's just going to do that. Yeah. Listen, I'm going to keep it 100. Anything by Sri Maharaj, bro, it's the final level of non-duality. If I find something else, I'll let you know. But it's the final level the way that he's talking, because he goes straight into nothing. When you see the shit he say about consciousness and then don't say about consciousness, it's, bro, the shit is like, it's a paradox. That's all I can say, bro. Let's go to it, y'all. So, as spaceness, right, is the nature of space. Oh, my shit froze, y'all. How do you freeze? There you go. As spaceness is the nature of space, so existence is nothing but my own nature, not a quality of mine, right? So let's break this down. All right. Spaceness is the very. Didn't we just read this? Oh, we're gonna read it again because it's putting it up for the next one. Spaceness is the very nature of space. It is what space is, not a quality possessed by space. You hear what I'm saying? Spaceness is the very nature of space. It is what space is, not a quality possessed by space. And so existence is not an attribute of mine. I don't have existence. Listen, I don't possess existence. I have existence. No,
I don't have existence. And I don't exist as if it were a state or an action that I enter into. I am existence itself. Come on. Where y'all at? Let's highlight that. Let's read that again. So, spaceness is the very nature of space. It is what space is. It is not a quality possessed by space. So space does not possess spaceness. You get what I'm saying? It's not attached. It's not taking ownership of space. It is what it is. You get it? I am what I am. You see where we're going to this with this? And so existence is not an attribute of mine. I do not have the attribute of, oh, I exist now and one day I won't exist. No. I don't have existence. I don't have ownership of existence. And I don't exist as if it were a state or an action that I enter into. You know, I don't enter into existence and go out of existence. What am I? I am existence itself. There is nothing that it can exist outside of you, the self. We got to run this every time. How can anything exist outside of your awareness? Everything that you can ever think of and ever will think of, or you thinking all the way up to the year 3022, or you're going all the way back to the year 1 AD. It exists within your awareness. That's the way you. That's the only way you're able to be aware of that, even that time frame. I'm talking about everything from cats, dogs, to mermaids, to aliens, to fourth, fifth dimensions. None of that exists outside of you because you are this existence itself. It borrows. Listen, everything borrows existence from you, awareness. Everything borrows existence from you, the light. What do I mean by it borrows it? Because it's ultimately an appearance. It appears within you. It appears to you. An appearance fade away. Appearances are qualities. Qualities fade away. You know this. Every ancient place has fucking existed in heaven and no longer exists in the way that it exists before. So it rises up and it falls down. Existence in the material world is that. But it cannot exist outside of you. There can never be a time where nothing, even the things that you don't know, you're aware that you don't know those things. Alright? I don't see nobody saying, ask no questions in the okay. Let's see. Now let's go. Let's get back to it. Alright? Existence, let me read this. What Martha say? Sometimes I wonder if self projects this illusion in order to give meaning to consciousness. Good one. So let's understand this, right? Self or consciousness. That's why I say go read Sri Maharaj. But here's the thing around it, right? Because that's basically what we can come up with as a human mind. So it's always that thing that God had nothing to do, so God created itself in multiple layers of illusions. So it can create something, so it can have something to do. Basically, to have something to do. You see what I'm saying? Because ultimately there is no meaning. If we're going to look at it from that point. Ultimately there is no meaning, it's just something to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the meaning behind you? Like, you know, so you know how some kids do things with no meaning? Like kids do shit with no meaning behind it. That's why I like they talk about be as a child. The pure innocence. Your pure innocence is like really nothing, no meaning to do what you're doing. It's just like, do. Like, why not? No deep. See, I think it's us as humans because we have developed an intellectual mind, we like, oh, look at the Fibonacci sequence numbers inside of this, and we are actually creating those type of things and making those things. The mind is actually doing that. We are giving meaning to it. That doesn't mean it's original. I mean, whether appearance appears in front of, that doesn't mean it has a meaning. It's like the things in your dream starts to give itself its own meaning. Or the movie character inside of the movie starts to give itself its own meaning. Versus you, the viewer who's watching the movie, who already knows the play and the plot, you already know he's creating his own meaning of itself. Hopefully I didn't goddamn twist and tie anybody up with that one. Let me know in the chat, like, did that, because you know you get to talking paradoxical language when you get to this type shit. While I eat my grapes. And spit out the seeds. Am I supposed to swallow the seeds? I don't know. Okay. Existence is not, make sense. Existence is not considered a classification, as there is no other existence than me. A category, a classification is used to distinguish members from non-members. All different types of fish belong to the fish classification. All tea roses belong to the tea rose classification. All eyelids belong to eyelids classification. But existence is universal. All that is. All that is. And that isness, which we call existence, is not a category. Not a category. Not even a universal category like the set of all numbers in mathematics or the set of all things, because there is nothing outside of existence. That existence is reality. It is non-dual, hence not a collection like the set of all things. There is nothing else. In that existence, I am. I swear to God, it's just so simple though, y'all. It's really so simple that it's difficult, to the point that we try to give meaning to it. It's like this thing is just sitting there. You get to that point where you just sit with it, bro, and ponder on what's being said here. And it's like, so anything that I try to explain about what I'm understanding is ultimately not even it. And that makes sense once you get past understanding that the mind is what's trying to make sense. Remember, what's the sense? Senses. So you're trying to use the one that projects and perceives all of the things, which is the mind, right? It creates all the things. You're trying to use a gun. You're trying to use the very gun in your hand to stop the gun from firing. You tell me how far you're going to get. No. You're trying to use the gun to understand the gun. In this case, you have to go back and understand the person who created the gun. You see what I'm saying? And that simple. Don't take that too far, but let's see. It's like in the biblical age, self-created biblical answers to existence. Now in the scientific age, self-create scientific explanations. See what I'm saying? That's the part of the movie that we're in now. That's what I keep telling folks. Like, this is the part of the movie that we're in now when it comes to technology and science and the highly um um intellectual mind. That's just a part of the movie now. That's a part of the play now, and it's happening spontaneously. It's like a spontaneous film just popped on. Like a film just popped on and it's just going. And you just like, oh, what the fuck is this? And next thing you know, you just watching it, just, oh, damn, you loving the movie. No explanation for it. It's just there. It just popped on. And it's already got its play. Or matter of fact, it ain't got no play. It's just playing out. Nobody really was assigned a role. It's just playing out. Facts. The eye cannot see the eye. You have never seen your eyes. You've only seen a distorted reflection, a picture or a mirror image of your eyes. You cannot see the eye. Remember that. Think about how crazy that is. When you think about it, man, your own eyes, you can't see your own eyes and you think you can discern through reality with the normal way of thinking? You think you can tell what something else is? And you think you know you seen this and did that? And you can't even see your own eyes, yourself? The motherfucker who's so-called using them? Think about that, man. 23. Knowledge is my own nature indeed, not a quality. If a quality, then the self becomes knowable, and therefore is not self. If unknowable, the self becomes non-existent. Listen. They finna get into it. Let's go into it. I ain't gotta explain it. Knowledge is my own nature indeed, not a quality, as with existence. So knowledge is not a quality or a power that I possess. You hearing that? Knowledge is not a quality or a power that I possess, nor is it that I know. So I don't know knowledge and I don't have knowledge. Rather, I am knowledge itself. Language and the concepts founded in language are by nature divisive and dualistic. There you go. Here's your answer to anything that we could ever say. Listen to that. We're going to read that again. Knowledge is my own nature indeed, not a quality, as with existence. So knowledge is not a quality that I possess. I don't possess knowledge. Nor is it that I know. I don't know knowledge. Rather, I am knowledge itself. Language and the concepts founded in language are by nature divisive. Divisive and dualistic. That's why you can never. He who says he knows Brahman knows Brahman not. He who does not know Brahman knows Brahman. You can't express it. And if you have that, if you have had it, and when you do have that direct experience, you would understand it. You're going to try to express it, but ultimately, whatever you're expressing is not it. But you still have this innate feeling of knowing what you experienced. It's like, yeah, but explain it to us. It's like, it's like, man, you had to be there. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to explain somebody the most profound experience you ever had, and they ask you to explain it to them, and you try to explain, and you see they not really excited as you are. It's like, well, shit, damn, bro. Like, you had to be there. Really, you just had to be there. You know what I'm saying? If you went there, bro, you want to understand, bro. Like, damn, you had to be there. It's one of those. Every time when you have this realization, that's what it is. I've tried to explain mine multiple times, and while I'm explaining, even some people are getting it's like, damn, what the fuck? But still in my head, I'm like, damn, I still don't think it's getting through to the point, because not that the person's not getting it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying it is, I still think what I'm describing is doing it disjustice. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's still giving a full experience. It's not even a think, because that's exactly what they're saying here. Alright? I know X. There is the subject. There is the subject, I, who knows. The object, X, which is known. So we have the I, who knows, and the X object, which is known. In the knowing process, which connects them, there's three things right there. I, which is the subject, and the object, which is known, which is X. And then we have the process of knowing that connects them. Why haven't I highlighted that? But check this out. But in truth, there is only the essence of knowledge, which is consciousness. The subject is the object in the process of knowing collapse into unity at illumination, which has the actual truth all along. But our unillumined minds have divided the experience into a triad. Man, we have to read that again. Sorry. So we have the I know. So first, I know. Oh damn, Coop, I ain't see you. Koopananda, Coop the Yogi. This makes sense because everybody knows something. So how are you not the knowledge you so-called seek? You have to already be it. Facts. You have to be it already. Man. Come on. And this is where we're going with it right here. So I know X, right? There is the subject I, right? And there's the subject I who knows. The object X, which is known. So it's the known, it's the knower and the known. And then we have the process of knowing which connects them. So this is what they mean when like know thyself, or the spiritual journey, or the spiritual path back to God. There is no path because you're already it. You haven't realized it, but obviously these three things seem to be taking place in your life. You, the seeker of knowledge, and then the knowledge that you're seeking, and then the path that connects you to that knowledge that you're seeking. When you find out it's nothing but you the whole goddamn time. That's why I say it's a cosmic joke. It has to be a cosmic joke. It has to be a play. There's no other way that anybody can come up with anything. Fuck it. Whatever you say it is, that's what the fuck it is. You know what I'm saying? Damn. Whatever you say it is, that's what it is. So, but the truth is there is only the essence of knowledge, which is consciousness. The subject, object, and process of knowing collapse into into unity at illumination, which has the actual truth all along. But our unillumined minds have divided the experience into a triad. So you have created your spiritual path. The mind has done that. That's what the mind does. You have created a meaning for life. That's what the mind does. That's the beauty of it. This shit is it actually can be viewed as beautiful, bro. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. It can actually be viewed as beautiful. It depends on what standpoint you want to choose. If you identify with the standpoint of pure suffering all the time, and I hate this, and I hate that, and I hate this, and I want to go to the next dimension, you can say that. It's up to you. You give it the meaning. It should be clarified that when we say that I am knowledge itself, we are using knowledge in a special way, right? Right? We do not mean repository of things that are known, like a galactic library or universal database. I was just having a conversation with somebody, and you know, we have these things where we like to say like all the stuff is in my DNA. You know what I'm saying? It's all in my DNA, my ancestors, my DNA, and all of this and that. We're not talking about a repository of things that are known, like the galactic library or database. This is not knowledge of self that we're talking about, right? That's still limiting us. That's still putting us in a material what's in it. It still puts us in something that can be grasped or ultimately had. That would be a collection of things. There you go, right here. Shit, they finna say it. That would be a collection of things that can be known, or of things stored in a memory, Unfortunately, for our purpose, that, however, is what the English word knowledge stands for. See what I'm saying? We've been taught to understand these words from our perspective anyway. That's what the English word stands for. Accessible, listen, accessible objects of knowledge. But jnana, right? Because this is what we're doing, jnana yoga, right? The yogic path of knowledge, knowledge of the self. The Sanskrit word refers to that which happens in every act of knowledge. But the jnana, the Sanskrit word for knowledge, refers to that which happens in every act of knowledge. The identity of the subject and the object in the illumination of consciousness. To one who sees this, all knowledge is sacred, because all is pointing to and participating in the ultimate identity of Atman and Brahman. Like, you got no spiritual path, y'all. From this perspective, you know what I'm saying? If you disagree, this don't line up with your concepts. Granted, understood. But there is no journey. We want to make it. It's like, bro, you're not doing the self. What I tell you on the other live, the self is interacting with the self, acting as something else, talking to the self about the self, trying to get the self to realize self, when the whole time the self ain't doing nothing but talking to the self and experiencing the self, or think it's experiencing something different, but the whole time it's just the self. This is detachment. How can you not be detached? Because everything is the self. Like, it's so simple that it's difficult because we want to do shit. We want to attach ourselves to the doership. You see what I'm saying? We want to attach ourselves to the things that are being done. But ultimately, what's being done is naturally being done by way of the illusionary world. Nature says, Krishna told Arjuna, and I remember Sweet Mirage said something like, if you're going to read the Bhagavad Gita, read it from the standpoint as if you were Krishna. Don't read it as a seeker of knowledge. Read the Bhagavad Gita as Krishna himself, itself, or the self. Read it from that standpoint of view. Shift your perspective. So it's like, if you're going to read the Bible if you can. Read the Bible from the standpoint of God, not someone who's looking for God. And see, won't that shift your fucking perspective on reality? Think about that. Read it. Read any one of your spiritual books from the highest aspect of the concept of God, and see, won't that shift your perspective? Because what you're ultimately going to keep trying to do is try to relate it back to human terms. But yo, why wouldn't he just go to the other ones who are being the bad guys and then relate them? And you're going to ultimately bring that shit back down by your human concepts. Some may not. Some will get it. But that's what Bobby meant when he said God does not act like a fucking human.
God does not act like a fucking human.
Not acting like a human. Don't think like a human. Stop thinking like a fucking human. Damn, yeah. It's even beyond the Akashic Records. Facts, cool. That's what I've been saying. It's beyond the Akashic Records is the Akash. Everything has to come out of it, though. Don't get me wrong. All the rest of the elements in existence have to come out of it. So from that perspective, it's profound. Melanin in Akash or ether, that's profound from the level of mind looking up. But if you were from the level of consciousness and everything is a projection inside of you, it's all the same thing. It ain't really that big of a deal. I'll be honest. I always imagined that I wouldn't get to this level of understanding till I was in my 80s. You know? Oh, I thought you were saying you in your 80s. You see what I'm saying? Which means what? What they say, to study or to learn or something, education means to pull out. Edu means to pull out. It's in you. We just pulling it out so you can realize it. You see what I'm saying? You just pulling it. This is just the point where we just pulling on it, pulling on like, oh damn, I didn't know all that was inside of me. So you didn't even get nowhere. Cool, TGS, you got nowhere. You was already here. And then so-called did the action of pulling out. Because in reality, I am not different than you. I know it sounds kind of cliche to say shit like that, but like, that's the real reality. That's the real reality. Hold up. If a quality, then the self becomes knowable. Right? So if the self was an actual quality, if knowledge of self is a quality, like I got knowledge of self, you don't got knowledge of self. Or I'm getting my knowledge of self up. You see what I'm saying? If it was a quality like that, or, oh, you know what I'm saying, you got this degree of, because you've heard me say before, like some people talk about knowledge of self and it goes into ancestors and understanding what the white man has taken from us and what the white man is doing and what Trump is doing or what Obama doing and what we didn't do and what all these people are doing, and here's our real reality. We're the melanin gods and we are the ancient galactic federation, and you know what I'm saying? That some people take that and then take, oh, I eat healthy, I got my grapes with the seeds in it, which I'm eating now, which is gooder than a motherfucker. Or I drink alkaline water and I work out 10 times a day. Like, that's good for the body and the mind, don't get me wrong. But that's not the knowledge of self. Those are qualities that a certain sector of people say get knowledge of self. They've labeled knowledge of self with qualities. This is not that. That becomes a thing that can be known. This right here is a thing that can't be known, is beyond the mind. So a lot will reject this, right? And as they should reject this. If a quality, then the self becomes knowable, and therefore it is not self. If knowledge is a quality of the self, not the self itself. Hold up, what the fuck? Let's read that again. If it's a quality, then the self becomes knowable and therefore is not self. If knowledge is a quality of the self, not the self itself, then the knowledge I am must result from the self becoming an object of knowledge, and the self becomes the not self, an obvious impossibility. This logic is simple, but the expression is difficult, and there we are not used to thinking in these terms. That is the only reason it seems difficult. The self is defined by the sense I am, by self-awareness, the knowledge that I am. We aren't speaking here of the Vedantic definition, but the universal definition. That's what we mean when we speak of the self. But if knowledge is not the nature of the self, but a quality inhering in the self, which gives the power to know, then the knowledge I am is the fruit of the quality and not the self-luminosity of the self itself. And then the self is no self. If it could be, listen, so it's saying if anything, basically, if the self can be obtained, then it's not the self. Basically what it's saying. If you're thinking you can obtain the self, then it's not the self. The self is the actual thing that gives power to knowing things. It's the source power of knowing. It's the electricity of It's the electricity for the light. Electricity is not the light. It's electricity that gives source to the light to be able to be light itself. So it's not the light itself. If unknowable, if unknowable, the self becomes non-existent. If unknowable, the self becomes non-existence. We have just seen that if the self is knowable, it is thereby not the self. So anything that you can know, when you say you know, he who knows Brahman not. So anything that you say that you know, it can't be the self. And we land in a contradiction. That's what I'm saying. You get to this side, you're going to see a whole bunch of contradictive shit. But it's contradictive to the mind. Then you're like, how else can I? Yeah, you're not supposed to get it. It's not meant for you to get. When I say you, we talking about the mind. Your mind is not going to get it. But if the self is unknowable, then by definition, it does not exist. For what existence is that which is beyond the possibility of knowledge. For what existence is that which is beyond the possibility of knowledge. And so the self is neither knowable nor unknowable. It is knowledge itself. The self is neither knowledgeable or unknowledgeable. The self is neither knowable or unknowable. It is knowledge itself. It is the source of knowledge itself. Huge contradiction. Damn, all these comments, hold up. Right, none of that is relevant, just feel good small talk facts on nutritional yeast. Super chassis. What are these I need to use to be healthy? Researching topics. My nature self-hates being healthy. Thinking about who is 7X's? I feel like 7X's is talking like Ben. I feel like Ben didn't change his name, bro. Ben the only person that talk like that. Who is 7X's? Facts, Travis Harris. All paradoxes reconcile. All paradoxes reconcile. We finna get into our last verse, but I want to go back to something. So 7X's. Are you sure you're not Ben? I feel like, bro, if you're not Ben, bro, y'all gotta be related. Ben come through here and say some of the most off the wall. When I say off the wall, not off the wall like in bad, like get the fuck on. I mean like, bro, like y'all minds is just on another level. It's like walking mycelium. Like a walking, talking mushroom, bro. You don't exist in the regular existence normal human beings exist in, and I am very happy to be in association with you. Appreciate you for showing up, 7X's. Anyway, real shit. Appreciate you for showing up, and I'm happy that you actually, you know what I'm saying, appreciating what's being done, because it's only you doing it. You think I'm separate. You think I'm somebody else doing something, but oh. You shall find out. You shall find out. Let's see. We are not speaking here of the Vedantic definition, but the universal definition. That's, hold up. The self is defined by the sense. The self is defined by the sense. I am. Let's highlight that. Let's underline that. by self-awareness. All right? The knowledge that I am. The knowledge that I am. The knowledge that I am existence. I exist. Right? We aren't speaking here of the Vedantic definition, but the universal definition. That's what we mean when we speak of the self, the universal definition. But if knowledge is not the nature of the self, yeah, bruh, 7X has got to be Ben, y'all. Look how he writing. This got to be Ben. Ben didn't change his name, man. Let me find out. Ben just didn't change his name. But if knowledge is not the nature of the self, but a quality inhering in the self. But knowledge is not the nature of the self, but a quality inhering in the self. So knowledge is a quality that's within the self, right? Which gives it the power to know. He said, thanks. It's the 29th degree by the sign. It's still in the 14th degree. Come on, man. Come on, man. Which gives the power to know. So existence itself, without existence, how would you know things? There would have to be an existence first, with things in the existence for those things to ultimately end up one day to be known. Have you thought about that shit? There has to be an existence of things first for things have to exist first. First there has to be an existence. Then there has to be so-called a creation of things inside of this existence before you even get to the eons down the line for you to be able to have the ability to know. But to have the ability to know has to come from the source, existence itself, which is what we are calling the self. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Twist and tie your mind around that paradoxical, contradictory ass shit. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Y'all on Instagram. Yeah, I know. See, I bet, bro. I know this being over here, bro. Y'all on Instagram. Y'all ass need to be over here on YouTube or the TikTok. Let's see. Let's get back to it. Where we at with it? Hold up. Come on, man. Then the knowledge I am is a fruit of the quality and not the self-luminosity of the self itself. And then the self is no self. So let's get down here to 24, y'all. No. We going back over this. Empress Divine, what's happening? SOP. If unknowable, the self becomes non-existence. We just seen that the self is knowable, right? We have just seen that if the self is knowable, it is already not the self, and we land in a contradiction. But if the self is unknowable, then by definition, it does not exist. For what existence is that which is beyond the possibility of knowledge? And so the self is neither knowable nor unknowable. It is knowledge itself. Alright? If y'all got this book, I hope y'all have been highlighting and underlining. Verse 24, the last verse we're doing today. What the fuck is he talking about? Hey, it's nowhere in the hell that's not being, bro. Ain't no other person in this so-called existence that talk like dude, bro. Okay, verse 24. I am joy itself. Joy is not other than me. Because this is where we get to understand that I am love itself. Not in a like a superficial way, self love. Hey, literally, let's get to it. I am joy itself. Joy is not other than me. If other, it is not joy at all. For if it isn't for me, it isn't dear at all. And if it is for me, it isn't dear or itself. Let's read that again. I am joy itself. Joy is not other than me. If other, it is not joy at all. For if it wasn't for me, it isn't dear at all. And if it is for me, it isn't dear of itself. Let's get to it. The self is described as Sat Chit Ananda. They spelled it different. Because I didn't even see Sat Chit Ananda. Existence, knowledge, bliss. Or existence, consciousness, and bliss. In the previous two verses, we looked at existence and then at knowledge. Now, we do the same analysis with joy. I am joy itself, right? Joy is not other than me. The first statement presents both the Vedantic position and the source of that position, the experience of the illuminated. It is not that I am happy. No, I am joy itself and none other. Joy is an internal experience. Joy is an internal experience, even if we find joy in the joy of others. The joy we feel is internal. This is my thing. This is what I always say. Like if a person start getting their health together, they start working out, they lose weight, they get to that what's the name, and they ultimately start having this confidence that they showing. Where did that confidence come from? Did once they reach their goals of their weight and their health, did a package of confidence get dropped off by Amazon on Prime delivery? Where did that joy come from? It's the same thing we're saying with this so-called knowledge of self. Where did it come from? Did you get dropped off a package of, you know what I'm saying, knowledge of self? Did you get dropped off a package of confidence? Where was it? It was always within you the whole time. And if y'all go back to my videos at the beginning of 24, when I started doing this shit, I got a video called You Are Everything That You Ever Wanted or something like that. When I hit, like, intellectually or spiritually, I knew all of this shit. But once I had the real deal realization that just completely came over me, I knew what this meant on a different level. Because internally, I can't explain it. You'll go back and watch the videos. I'm explaining it, but I'm not. So it's like almost if you get it, you get it. It's like if you know, you know. And I understood this. It's not another person outside of me that can take it from me or give it to me. There's not a thing that can actually ultimately give it to me. No person can give me love that I am not. No person can take love away from me that I am, because I am that. You are that. It's not saying this me as a person. It's what I am. It's what you are. Period. Anybody, every single thing here that exists that you can see and can't see. That's the reality. The joy we feel is internal. It never jumps from outside into us. Here we go. Yeah, we're finna get into it. And as we progress in spiritual life, we find more and more that joy is intrinsic to our own being. Come on, man. True joy we find is different from the nervous excitement we feel at the party. Hold up. Damn. True joy we find is different from the nervous excitement we feel at a party or the simulation we feel when we enjoy a pleasurable sensation. That's the difference. There's something different. We're not talking about that, right? This connection between two is real, but the connection is the internal joy, which is common to both. in nervous excitement or sensory stimulation. However, the excitement factor is like a radio static in the midst of beautiful music. We mistake the whole experience as joy because we don't know joy in itself. And stimulation is the best we can do. We are like the person who has never heard beautiful music, only music played over a cheap, crackling radio with poor reception. Joy itself is pure, silent, and internal. Damn, I'm missing a lot of comments. What are your thoughts on the koshas? Is even the bliss body a part of Prakriti, or is it the true self? So as we get to the Annamaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha, all those koshas are obviously they're gonna have to be, because what does kosha mean? It means covering. It means sheath. They're all in Prakriti. Yes. All of those are in Prakriti. Now, this is by understanding just the knowledge of this shit. That doesn't mean we shouldn't study them, we shouldn't talk about them. Cause we did that on you probably wouldn't follow me then, Mothra. You probably wouldn't follow me on, but the video that I got called "The Dark Veil Lifted," we ran through all the koshas, and all the koshas have to be under Prakriti. They appear in consciousness, the self. So yes, the bliss body still would be in that sense of blissness, even though it's at the top. It's still an object to be known within consciousness. So what Empress Divine say? Everything is within. You are your own source. Everything is mental. Conquer that mind and you conquer it all. Facts. Yeah, like you literally make me laugh and I enjoy listening to you. Nobody can do that except for you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Being fucking 7X's. Wet kitchens are slippery when wet. Meaning freshly clean. Rafe 636 says, always delivering fire with these sessions, bro. Appreciate you, bro. Real shit. Appreciate you, bro. I appreciate y'all. I done told y'all, man, I love the hell out y'all. We ain't gotta be in the same room. You ain't gotta do shit for me. Goddamn it, just showing up and being the fuck that you are. You know what I'm saying? This shit right here is way more. Y'all know. We ain't even gotta get into it. Let's see. If other, it is not joy at all. Joy is either who I am or it isn't. You see what I'm saying? It's either, if it's other than joy, then it's not joy at all. Joy is either who I am or joy isn't at all. There is no joy outside of me, is what they were saying. Outside of self. Not me as the person with this mind-body complex. There are no other choices in the matter. The author has already stated that joy is indeed who I am. But here he says, for the sake of argument, okay, if you believe that I, the self, am not joy, where does that lead? He tells us that joy then is no joy at all. And he explains why in the remainder of the verse. Damn, I hope TikTok didn't see what I just did. I didn't do nothing, TikTok. I'm chilling. Alright. So if y'all on TikTok, hit the like button or hit whatever they ask you to hit over there on TikTok. You did. Because I'm new to TikTok. New to going live on TikTok. TikTok won't let me put no comments in there. So let's see. Let's get back to it over here. Boom. 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 So if it isn't for me, it isn't dear at all. Hold on, make sure we on the right page. Appreciate you, Rafe. Real shit. Appreciate you, bro. Zero, the Mexico hero. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Let's see. If it isn't for me, it isn't dear at all. And if it is for me, it isn't dear of itself. The last two conditions, all right? These last two conditions, if it is for my sake and if it is not for my sake, follow as the two possibilities if joy is not my own nature. First, if joy is not for my sake, that is, if it isn't related to me, then how can it be dear? Right? How can it be dear? It's obviously not dear. And it isn't joy. It's obviously not dear and it isn't joy. That leaves other possibility. Joy is for me. That is, it is related to me and therefore dear. Here, we must bring in another factor. Things that are separate from me but related to me are 1. Dear to me, 2. Disliked by me, or 3. Objects of indifference to me. That is, they are prior, divisia, or eupisia. I don't know. There's not a fourth possibility. But joy obviously isn't disliked by anyone. Name somebody you know who dislikes joy. Nor is anyone indifferent to joy. And therefore, it must be dear. So joy is a principle, just like awareness. Just like awareness. It's in everyone. Matter of fact, everyone is it. Matter of fact, there's nothing but it. Awareness. It has to be. Because that's everyone's day-to-day, everyday experience. You're not getting away from it. If joy is for me, then it is dear only because it relates to me. Not dear by its very nature. And that is crunch. Hold on, let's read that again, my bad. If joy is for me, then it is dear only because it relates to me. If joy is for me, then it is dear only because it relates to me. Not dear by its very nature. And that is contrary to our direct experience. Joy is not experienced as an object which is dear when we come into relation with it, like a husband or a wife or a favorite possession. This is joy. Joy isn't a means to happiness. It is joy itself, the inner expressions, the inner essence of happiness itself. So, happiness comes from joy. You hear that? It's a quality of joy. That's what they're saying. Neither these alternatives, then, that joy is not for my sake or that it is for my sake, is acceptable. Hence, I am joy itself, none other. Neither these alternatives. Then, that joy is not for my sake or that it is for my sake is acceptable. Hence, I am joy itself, none other. Admittedly, there are two obvious and strong objections to the whole line of thinking. First, the arguments that we have just used to prove that joy is my true nature can be made for sadness, fear, anxiety, anger, and other emotions. Like joy, they also are experienced internally. We say, I am sad. Not sadness is external to me, but I experience for my sake. We don't talk like that, do we? None of us talk like that. And it's for a good fucking reason, the way the mind is set up. Maybe we should start talking like that. Give it a second, y'all. Like joy, they are also experienced internally. We say, I am sad. Not sadness is experienced to me, but is experienced for my sake. So, what's the difference? Besides, there's a second problem. Joy is transient. Sometimes I feel joyful, and shortly after I feel sad or angry. If joy is who I am, then there are definitely times when I am not joy, right? Which lands Vedanta in an absurdity. Therefore, joy cannot be my nature. I can't be who I am. Let's go. Ah, okay. You in the streets with it. Zero say he in the streets with it. He said that's what Coop says that's why in NLP they get you to access previous states of happiness. It's within you, whether you see it or not. It can't come from no place else. Facts. The argument against these two objections require us to appeal the experience which is possible to everyone, but not yet within the experience of everyone. Possible to everyone, but not yet within the experience of everyone. That is, everyone has the potential to have the necessary experience, but most haven't developed that potential. If the sounds elicit, if the sounds elicit well, it is the same in all higher pursuits. If we tell nuclear physicists that when proving their discoveries they must only appeal to the common experience of ordinary humanity, there will be no nuclear physicists. Right? They have to appeal to knowledge which is had only by other highly trained nuclear physicists. So it is here in higher spiritual life. Are you hearing that? Right? So everyone doesn't have the whole so-called higher spiritual experiences that we have had, but everyone has the potential to. Obviously, that's what's being stated here. Now, the response. Here we go. Here's the response, y'all. Sadness, depression, anxiety, fear, anger, etc. are all mental states. Think we all agree with that. We experience them within the mind, right? And we didn't talk about this a billion times, but let's do it. We experience this within the mind, and that means internally for the average person, right? That's why we say I am sad, rather than sadness is external to me. That's why I said up there. Shit, maybe we should start talking like that, right? And then what does that do? Automatically, mentally starts detaching us from that sadness, and this is me. That's depression, and this is me. That's fear, and this is me. That's your detachment. You're seeing the difference. You're seeing that thing is appearing to you. It's not you. That's what the mind does. It takes ownership of that thing being me. I am sad. I am mad. I am scared. I am fearful. That's why we say I am sad rather than sadness is external to me. But it's experience for my sake. We don't say that, right? Let's go. Let's see how many more pages we got. Hold up, y'all. Yup. We got this page and a half. So yes, it would. Like, share, and hit that subscribe button. Message S-O motherfucking P. Spread the message. Facts. So yes, it would at first glance appear to me to be the same as with joy. But in the Vedanta tradition would say no, it's not the same. Why not? Here we go. Because joy does not originate in the mind. The mind only reflects it. There's your answer. We can stop and drop it right here. There's your answer. The mind is reflecting. They actually call the mind the reflected consciousness. It's the reflected consciousness. But joy does not originate in the mind. The mind only reflects it. Unlike sadness and anger and fear, they require some explanation. First of all, one problem is the category of Western thought. Let's go ahead and highlight that. Yes, that's what I like trying, and that's what I keep trying to do. You see what I'm saying? Cool TGS. I like to say this for this mind body complex. Yes. So I'm trying to keep up with saying that I'm doing it internally to myself, but saying it out loud too is help. I think it will help people align up with it. Yes, for my mind body complex, that is the most supreme and the most found like profound shit ever. Or yes, my mind body is this and this and this and that. The mind body complex is something totally different than who I am as pure consciousness awareness. Who you are as pure consciousness awareness. So we can talk in the mind body complex, and we can talk in the true self complex, which is not a complex, but which is existence itself, right? And that happens because of this. What? First of all, one problem is the categories of Western thought, where the separate things are grouped under emotions. Emotion in general, a very useful category, but it lumps together things which are actually unrelated. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Fear, anger, depression, sadness, jealousy, hatred, love, compassion, sympathy, and joy. These are all considered feelings, emotions. Feelings and emotions. But the negative emotions just listed come from our psychophysical being. They are partly mental, but are tied to the pranayama, the pranamaya kosha. They are tied to the pranamaya kosha, or the vital body, which is why they are powerful and dynamic. Who heard that? Right? So fear, anger, depression, sadness, jealousy, hatred, love, compassion, sympathy, and joy, these are all considered feelings and emotions. But the negative emotions just listed come from our psychophysical being. They are partly mental, but are tied to the pranamaya kosha, the vital body, which is why they are powerful and dynamic. Without prana, there is no mind. Without prana, there is no mind. Without mind, there is no prana. Remember that. Secondly, the problem is our own experience. Right? Secondly, the problem is our own experience. Love is considered an emotion because in ordinary experience it is tied to drive. It is tied to drives like lust, and negative emotions like jealousy, anger, fear, and negative mental states like confusion. So with joy, the joy we ordinarily know, as said earlier, is mixed with the sense of fun and excitement. We do not know pure love and pure joy in themselves, only as they are filtered through the mind and the prana. Only as they are filtered through the mind and the prana. We don't know pure joy. We don't know pure love. It's filtered through our mind. Why do you think another person can see another person as being the best and the most great, like that's the love of their life, when we can be looking like, I hate to be in that relationship? Why? Because it's went through a whole different filtration system from you and your mental conditioning. Your version of love cannot be the same as this other person's on the body-mind complex way of thinking. Because on the body-mind complex, we are different. Even then, we really not. But let's just say, we're different. But love itself and joy itself are not emotions, are not rooted in the pranamaya kosha, have no intrinsic connection to jealousy, anger, fear, hatred, excitement, or the sense of fun. Well, look, when the mind is calm and drawn, we begin to feel joy and love as they are in themselves, and we feel them as intrinsic to our own being, not to the mind or to the prana. However, the negative emotions, which are actually the emotions proper, are intrinsic to the sense I am. They can be seen as objects and they disappear with the destruction of the impurities of the mind. Hold up. We're gonna run that back again. Because I think I think that everybody needs to hear it. I think that everybody needs to hear it. Alright? However, the negative emotions, which are actually the emotions proper, are intrinsic to the sense I am. They can be seen as objects, and they disappear with the destruction of the impurities of the mind. When I say I am sad, I am mad, because we identify with the mind. You hear me start saying where the mind is sad, or the body mind feels this, or the body mind is that. When we begin to detach, here we go, what I just said. When we begin to detach from the mind, we see that anger exists in the mind and sadness exists in the mind. But I am who I am itself, both witness both, untouched. Now let's read that again because I read that out of. When we begin to detach from the mind, we see that anger exists in the mind and sadness exists in the mind. But I, who I am, joy itself witnesses both, and I am untouched. You are not sadness. You are not mad. You are not over anxious. You are not fear. That's the mind. You are separate from that. You know that. You just don't know how to express that or realize that. You know that. It's an inner knowing that you know that. Because how else could you know that? Think about that. How else could you know? You have to be the one observing sadness and happiness and madness. Who is that who is observing happiness, sadness, and madness? And that's how we realize ourselves as free from them. I'm telling y'all. As for the apparent transience of joy, yes, no doubt. Sometimes we feel, you see, as for the body-mind complex, yes, no doubt. Sometimes we feel joy, sometimes we don't. And that would appear to present a problem. Vedanta says, we've seen that I am Satchit Ananda, right? Existence, consciousness, bliss, by my very nature. And we've seen that I am and I shine in all states of consciousness. If I am joy also, why? If I am joy also, why is that not as self-evident as my existent shining? So if I'm joy also, why is that not self-evident, right? After all, we have said that existence is consciousness, which is bliss. They are the same reality, and therefore they should all be self-evident in all states of consciousness. Well, it may not be logically satisfying, but it is experimentally true that joy does not seem in our present state to be a constant. And yet those who have realized the highest truth say that Ananda, or joy, is the nature of existence and consciousness. So that's what they were talking about with the nuclear scientists, right? How the nuclear scientists, they get this breakthrough and they can't just run and say some shit. It got to check out with the rest of the folks that are knowledgeable in that Western name. So why are all these self-realized people saying the same thing? Why are these self-realized people saying it's all love? It's all connected. It's all one. Why? Why is that the common thing amongst every religion? Or amongst every high super spiritual person? Why do you get the same from Bobby? Panic. Why you getting the same from me? Why you getting the same from Trav? Why you getting the same from Muhammad? Why you getting the same from Sri Maharaj? Why you getting the same from Sancharya? Why you getting the same from whatever, from the Egyptian, whatever? Why you getting the same thing? Of course, your everyday average person is not going to get it. Of course, they're not going to see it. But why, amongst all the high super nuclear scientists, they're all saying the same goddamn thing over so-called eons of time? You fucking tell me. They are one in the same. Logically, if two are self-evident, the third should also be. And in a way, it is, as we saw in verse 2. Never am I not beloved. That's why I cling so tenaciously to the only existence I know, my psychophysical identity, because it is so dear. And yet joy itself still isn't clear to us. Only our attachment to life is clear. Only our attachment to life is clear. Again, it isn't logically satisfying, but it is experimentally a fact. This in many aspects of our experiences. This in many aspects of our experience demonstrates that relative experience is not logical. Relative experience is not logical. We are constantly imposing logic upon experience, and yet at the edges, experience escape our logical grasp. Do y'all hear that? Listen, this in many aspects of our experience demonstrate that relative experience is not logical. We are constantly imposing logic upon experience, and yet at the edges, experience escape our logical grasp. Think about what we talking about by having these spiritual experiences. It's outside of logic. It's outside of motherfucking logic. But we still trying to use logic over here in this type of shit. So I keep saying, highly intellectual people are not going to get anywhere spiritually. They're just going to get stuck in logic and concepts and weighed down by these concepts. And they're going to choose a concept to identify with, and it's going to keep putting that pressure and putting that yoke on their ass and tying their ass up. And they're not going to be able to go further because they're locked down by their logic. Still, it can be understood. When we hold the sense of I am, or when we identify ourselves with the light of consciousness, because in our present state we can think of the two separately, which finds joy intrinsic both to the I am and to the light of consciousness. Also, when the mind is silent, my own silent being becomes evident, and it is experienced as joy. All of this means that as I come close to the sat and or to the chit aspect of my being, consciousness bliss, it is experienced as joy itself. That joy isn't felt when the mind is distracted and when I am identified with the body and the mind complex. That joy is not felt. You can't do it when you identify with that. Or rather, all that is left of it is the basic sense of dearness that causes me to hold on to life. All that I know of existence. That is why I am and I shine are more evident in my unregenerate state then. That is why I am and I shine are more evident in my unregenerate state than I am joy. We can't deny experience at any level. We must accept it, and we can try to understand it. And sometimes the only way to understand it is to see it at a larger context. In the smaller context, it often appears illogical. hear that? Let's read that again. We can't deny experience at any level. We must accept it. When we can try to understand it, and sometimes the only way to understand it is to see it in a larger context. You think you're too small, bitch. You need to be thinking big. You need to be thinking big, bitch.
All that bullshit ain't got shit to do with the goddamn soul.
You need, that's what did I say earlier? When you read the Bhagavad Gita, try to read it from the standpoint of Krishna. You read the Bible, try to read it from the standpoint of God. You read the Quran, try to read it from the standpoint of Allah. You read anything about the tree of life, try to read it from the standpoint of Aang so far. You will get this shit. That has worked for me. You will get this shit. Even though it's nothing to be got, but you know what I mean. It'll just dawn on you like, because that was my experience. And shit, reading from all these motherfucking gurus, they saying that the same shit was their experience. See, they had gurus. We don't got motherfucking gurus like specifically like that. In that context of gurus, like how they got. Like they go sit down for satsang and pull up and do satsang. We do. I'm talking about their lineage of gurus come down from thousands and thousands of years. You know, over here in America, especially for so-called what they call black people. You know what I'm saying? There was breakages up of it, and the CIA stopping it and doing this and inserting this and destroying people's character with this and doing this and that. So you know what I'm saying? They didn't have that over there, is what I'm trying to say. So it was a more cleaner lineage of no interruption. You see what I'm saying? So if you look at it from a larger context, in a smaller context, it's going to appear illogical. So you're going to get to this point of hearing yourself not like, no, I don't get it. That don't make sense. It's not going to make sense. Because you're filtering down what makes sense to you through your concepts that you identify with. So if it don't go through your strainer, if it can't make it through it's not going to make it through your strainer because it's not fitting the context that you want it to be. You know what I'm saying? The context for it to be in. You have to remove that context and just let it all pour in. So that will conclude today, y'all. Or let's read this last sentence. Say, we have seen that the self is Sat Chit Ananda, but that could indicate that I have a triune nature. So that could indicate that we have a three-part nature. So we're gonna break that up and see if consciousness, existence, bliss is three different aspects or three-part nature. Like what you like to say. The conscious mind, the subconscious, and the unconscious. We finna see about that type shit, right? That's on the next one. Today we have concluded verse 22 to verse 24 of the nature of the nectar of non-duality. We have seen that we are the source of knowledge. We are not grasping knowledge. We're not getting knowledge. We're not looking for knowledge. We are the source of knowledge itself. We're not even the light. We are the source of light itself. We are not love and joy. We are the source of joy itself. On the body-mind complex, yes. All of that other shit, the normal way that humans think. But we have come to the conclusion that we are joy, love, happiness, whatever the fuck, itself. Awareness itself, existence itself, I amness, just pure I amness, raw I amness itself. That is your nature. So as always, remember, no obstacles will apprehend you. Prosper over pain. There are no obstacles. There are only opportunities for you to realize the self and have an observation of your fucked up one-sided opinions, your fucked up one-sided thoughts. If you want to see things in one way, you ain't shit. You need to think big, bitch. You need to see things in a larger context. You need to see things in a larger context. You need to be thinking big, bitch. Zoom out and pull yourself out of your one-sided opinions, your one-sided thoughts. Observe those things like you observe a movie. Observe yourself like that. I mean, ultimately, that's what you're doing anyway. But what I'm telling you, if you switch into observer mode, you're pulling yourself back into awareness. You're not identifying with those thoughts, those minds, those emotions that keep popping up that saying, I am sad, I am mad, I am happy, I am jealous, I am in fear. You pull yourself away and you observe all of those. And remember, stand on motherfucking principle. SOP. Stand on principle. This is the cosmic principle. This is the ultimate principle. Observer mode, baby. This is our standard operating procedure.